OCD wants you silent, like a prisoner in your own home. And it doesn't care how it kind of makes that happen. It will use any old trick it can to get you stuck in that kind of familiar trap of looking for certainty, going round in circles. And I find it really helpful to actually picture this metaphor of a really mean, horrible neighbor to help you to realize what's going on with OCD and how to break out of the habit. So if you picture this neighbor that every time that you make any noise whatsoever, he comes round to your front door, he starts knocking on your door, he starts demanding, hey, you cannot make any noise here. How dare you make noise? What are you doing? And, unfortunately, what we tend to do when we're stuck with OCD is we tend to react to that horrible, noisy neighbor with fear. We're intimidated by him. We listen to him far too much. And what we end up doing is kind of tiptoeing around our own house. We don't want to make any noise. We don't want to upset that noisy neighbor. And so we're doing everything we can to try to make sure that we're kind of on our best behavior in our own home, that we're not actually making any noise. And of course, the problem with this is what we're actually talking about here is your own body. The home is obviously a metaphor for your place that you are within yourself, your body. And if we tell ourselves that we can't make any noise here, then obviously that's a very uncompassionate thing to do to yourself. When you tell yourself that you can't have anxiety, you can't have intrusive thoughts, you can't have difficult sensations, ultimately, you're kind of asking for the impossible. You're asking for perfection. But that's what we do with OCD time and time again. We want things to be a certain way. And unfortunately, they're not. And so, rather than kind of listen to this horrible, noisy neighbor that kind of demands all of this perfection from us, what we really need to learn to do is to actually start making some noise, to realize that we don't have to listen to that noisy neighbor. He really wants us to be kind of, to be feeling anxious in our own home, to be worried about making any noise, because if we do, that horrible guy is going to come round and shout at us and give us a hard time. So what should we do instead? Well, actually, we need to learn how to go and knock on the door of that annoying, loud, rude neighbor and say, hey, I'm here. And guess what? I'm not going anywhere. Maybe you can do a bit of a song or a bit of a dance, whatever you want. But really, the important thing here is that you show that rude neighbor that you're not intimidated by them, that actually you're willing to meet them head on. You're willing to experience them. You can experience the anxiety that they give you. You can kind of look them in the eye, and you can feel whatever that anxiety might be, or whatever other difficult emotions come up, or that desire for perfection that might come up. And you recognize it for what it is. It's the OCD kind of taking shape, telling you that you need to be a certain way, that you need to be like this, or you need to be like that. Really, what it is a kind of, an impossible demand for perfection and certainty. And when we actually, go to the front door and we meet that noisy neighbor head on, which is really kind of a metaphor for doing difficult things. Of course, one of the most important parts of learning to get over OCD is to do things like exposure activities, to practice acceptance commitment therapy and coming back to the present when you really want to carry on thinking about something. All of this is really kind of different forms of exposure. And, by going to that front door and kind of knocking on the neighbor's door and telling him, look, I'm here, and looking him in the eye, really what you're doing there is you're learning to allow discomfort. You're recognizing that anxiety is a normal part of life, that you're not going to walk around your house on tiptoes. You're not going to, just kind of sit there at home hoping that the noisy neighbor doesn't come knocking today. Because in a way, when we take that approach, we're almost inviting him in. Really, what we want to learn to do is how to disempower the OCD. And this is one of the most important things in my program. One of the most important things that I express to people that we need to learn to do is really to kind of take back control from OCD, to recognize that actually we're the ones who are empowered, not that noisy neighbor, not the OCD, that we have choice and we can choose to face that fear head on, to actually go into that discomfort step by step and to kind of prove to ourselves that we really can do that. And that's why I designed my 12-week program. If you're interested in applying for that, you can by heading over to my website at robertjamescoaching.com. There's a link in the show notes. And, this approach of actually going to that noisy neighbor, doing a song and a dance, staring him in the eye is something that has really helped me to transform my own personal experiences with OCD and anxiety, to realize that I'm much more empowered than I was previously giving myself credit for, that I don't have to carry on ruminating about things, that I don't have to avoid things, that actually I can take action and I can choose to live by my values, even when anxiety is screaming at me to not do certain things. As long as I keep moving forward and, I keep kind of taking steps towards what I really care about, what's important to me, then, progress is possible. This is something that's really helped me to kind of transform my own experience with OCD. So I really hope that you found that helpful. If you have any questions at all about anything I've just spoken about today, do please let me know. And remember, I do offer a free discovery call. To get that, you can head over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com. There's a link in the show notes. Many thanks, and I will see you next time. This video is for education only. It's not therapy or medical advice. If you're struggling, please speak with a licensed mental health professional.